I used to spend all winter blaming the cold for making me miserable, blaming the short days and long nights, so all that extra darkness for making me feel awful. I used to blame all of the different, gatherings with all the abundant food, and that's why I was feeling awful, or that's why maybe I was feeling puffy or bloated or gaining weight. And I used to blame all those things. And it wasn't until I learned actually how to embrace the dark, embrace the cold, and understand the different nourishment that our body needs in the winter that I actually started to thrive all winter long. So you see, what I was doing is that all winter in Michigan, I was actually treating it as if it were still summer inside. So in spite of it being colder outside, in spite of it being darker in outside, I used to, set my thermostat at 70, 72 degrees, have it bright all the time, and just eat with abandon because, that's what happens from Thanksgiving until, let's say, New Year's Day. And so it wasn't until I actually understood that winter's gift to us is that we live as we do opposite in the summer. What does the summer give us? The summer gives us abundant warmth, abundant brightness, abundant nourishment, especially during the harvest season. We get this abundance aspect. And that's great because in the summer, then we've got the capacity to have more capability to hunt and find food. We would have had more availability to build shelter, build muscle, build strength. So we would have all this available to us in the summer, which was perfect because in anticipation of a period that was much colder and much scarcer, we would have needed that abundant activity and muscle development and food availability to fuel that. We would have needed that in order to ensure our survival. But in the winter, the body runs on a different path. The body actually runs on better on things like embracing the darkness. When we embrace the darkness in winter, we run different repair programs in the body that are melatonin driven. I'm going to do a video next on why melatonin is our body's switch. It's not vitamin D in the winter. And so we need to optimize melatonin in the winter. And we can do that by embracing the darkness in key ways. We also run on colder. So when the light gets lower, when the light signal is less in the winter months, the body actually switches to what's called another zeitgeber or time giver. And that time giver is temperature. And so by the body seeing outside that it's darker, but by still sensing that our interior environments are warm and sunny, you create this mismatch, this metabolic mismatch, this disharmony where the body doesn't know, am I supposed to still be in summer mode and run my summer activity programs? Or should I be in winter mode, where the body is actually way more what's called catabolic, which isn't a bad thing. Catabolic just means in more breakdown mode. When the body can utilize the cold effectively, when the body can utilize the darkness effectively, and understand that we may need to put into our modern lifestyle periods of more food scarcity, which I'm going to talk about in a second because that sounds scary to people. We actually run these built-in metabolic programs that clear out damage and enhance longevity. By not running these and kind of living in this mismatch all winter long, I was never actually allowing my body to get into this restorative state, to do that deep cellular cleaning and repair, to take fat from fuel, which our body is designed to do in the winter. The cold and the darkness plus scarcity can actually allow the body to tap into fat as a fuel source and fuel my body all winter long to run my repair programs. And I never tapped into that. So what happened was I was wired but tired at night. I was puffy and bloated. I would gain a little bit of weight then, thinking I have to do something on New Year's Day to start to, support my metabolic function again. And that doesn't have to happen anymore. My body actually naturally knows how to embrace winter and the gifts that my body can run as repair programs all winter long. Now let's dive a little bit more into scarcity because there is a lot of there's two camps with this, right? Camp number one is, oh, we can fast, no problem. I intermittent fast all the time. Fast, 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 all the time. It's good. More is better. And then there's usually another camp that says, oh gosh, the idea of going without food, that sounds awful. That sounds miserable. And I want to bring this happy medium in, okay? Because I think that there are limitations to, that can actually ultimately be harmful with excessive fasting. I also think that avoiding scarcity also is bad for the human body. So in this Prep for Winter challenge that I'm going to host, I'm going to teach different ways to put in scarcity. It could be something like a 24-hour fast once a week. It could be one longer fast. It could be embracing a different fueling window. It could be changing your macronutrient blends or maybe not having as big of or robust meals on certain days of the week. So there's a lot of ways that we can build in scarcity. And when we do, the body then has to say, okay, Carrie has temporarily not nourished me with all my nutrient needs from all the fats, proteins, carbs, minerals, micronutrients. So we have to actually go in and maybe see if we've got any of those nutrients stored up in the body. And if we actually don't have them stored, how can we break down damaged proteins in the body through a process called autophagy and basically break them back up into their amino acid counterparts and then start to fuel my body, start to actually fuel glucose in my body through that pathway. It's not dysfunctional when you do it strategically. It's actually how the body is designed. But because we don't coach this in the winter, because in Michigan, I could literally eat as if I were living on the equator all winter long. I could eat from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. I could eat all tropical foods. I could eat tons of, stews and anything I wanted. I could eat garbage, right? I could literally eat fast food from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. But just because I can doesn't mean that that's helpful. And I think most of you are savvy enough to realize that fast food isn't the answer. But what I wasn't savvy enough to realize, in spite of eating a very clean, more paleo-like template, was that my body was missing key strategic periods where I pulled back. And I did a little bit of what strategic scarcity in order to allow my body to sense its own nourishment needs accordingly and kind of retune its metabolic function. Now, this whole concept of scarcity, too, I think needs to be extended to having built-in periods of scarcity where we have lack of stimulation. Something that's wildly beautiful about Michigan winter nights and early in the morning as well when it's dark still. And this is true. If any of you have gone outside after a snowfall and it's still dark outside, the one thing that I notice is silence. Whereas in the middle of summer, we've got the noise, we've got the wind moving through the trees, we've got the cicadas and the crickets, and we've got noise in the summer. And that's okay, right? Summer, we got more activity, we can handle that. What I think is lacking in the winter is silence. So we need scarcity from stimulation. There's something to be said about knowing how to bundle up and get all warm and cozy, go outside when it's quiet. Putting the phone away so we're not watching a video, we're not listening to a podcast, we're not listening to music, we're not reading a book. We're actually helping to reset things like our awareness, our intuition, reset our ability to produce, process dopamine pathways accordingly. So I think built-in scarcity doesn't only happen in the winter with food, it happens with understanding how overstimulated we are. And again, I'm going to give some key strategies in this Prep for Winter challenge. So I really hope this video gives you an opportunity to understand that winter doesn't have to be miserable. We don't have to just live all winter long and think, oh, I can't wait until it's March or I can't wait until it's April because this is awful. And if we choose to strategically embrace these quote unquote extremes that winter gives us, more cold, more darkness, more scarcity, both scarcity in nourishment and scarcity in stimulation, we actually can thrive all winter long.